Hello Internet, my name is Brink and welcome back to the channel. With midnight around the corner, it is time to kick off a brand new series. In these videos, I'm going to give you my first impressions of every tank class and its playstyle, and hopefully spark your curiosity and mine for playing them in the next expansion. My goal with this channel has always been to help out players who are thinking about stepping into the world of tanking. Whether you're a veteran or someone fresh who's considering a tank class in Midnight, you have come to the right spot. With all the big changes coming in Midnight, now feels like the perfect time to take a closer look at these reworked tanks. What makes them exciting and what might be a bit underwhelming in the next expansion. So here's the plan. This series will explore each tank class through a fresh first impression lens. It's not a deep dive or a patch note discussion, just my humble opinion on how each spec feels to play. But I'll spotlight the ones that I think are cool enough to talk about. Changes that shape your playstyle, or synergies that make you smile. So please, don't be offended by this video, as this will be highly opinion based and you might have a complete other idea of what is fun. If that's the case, let me know in the comments below and tell us what you are enjoying the most. In this episode, we're turning our attention to the Blood Death Knight. The DK has gotten some major changes, but at its core, the spec remains true to the Death Knight playstyle. So let's check it out, shall we? So what has changed with the Death Knight? The first thing long-time players will notice when seeing the Blood Death Knight is that Rune Tap has gone. Unholy Endurance and Tombstone have also been removed. So in the past, Rune Tap converted your blood rune into 5% of your maximum health, and later it was redesigned to reduce all incoming damage by 20%. Rune Tap will definitely be missed, but its removal isn't game breaking for the Blood Death Knight. Consumption has also been reworked into an empowered ability that requires you to stand still while casting, which may impact overall mobility. I'm not sure about this new form. I reckon some people will like it and some won't. But for an ability that makes you stand there and time this ability in a 3-step cast bar, I myself find it a bit underwhelming. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Do you like the new consumption or not so much? Some really cool talent changes have been introduced, in my opinion. Let's check them out. Bone Collector is a standout. And why? Well, it has a great passive effect that immediately gives you a stack of Bone Shield whenever you use a pull ability. It's simple but elegant. Let me show you how it works. The talent specifically says when you pull an enemy, which means it doesn't activate when you simply run into a pack and gain threat. You must press an ability that pulls, such as Death's Caress, Blood Boil or Gorfin's Grasp. I would also expect it to work with Death Grip, since it functions like a single target version of Gorfin's Grasp. However, on beta right now, Death Grip is not triggering the talent. It used to work earlier in testing, so I'm assuming this is just a bug and will be fixed before launch. Speaking of Abomination Limb and Gorfin's Grasp, Abomination Limb is back, but currently it also isn't generating a Bone Shield stack when it pulls enemies. Gorfin's Grasp, on the other hand, does trigger the effect. Pulls all the mobs together, silences them and grants you the Bone Shield stack. Honestly, as things stand right now, I like Gorfin's Grasp more from the two. And the best part, you get all this value for just one talent point, an AoE grip, silencing all enemies and a Bone Shield stack, which is really nice. Another big change worth talking about is the overhaul of the Blood talent tree. A lot has shifted around, and on top of that, we've got brand new and reworked talents to experiment with. Deadly Reach, a fresh addition that makes your Death Strike hit 2 extra enemies. This is huge for cleave situations, and helps smooth out your threat in multi-target pulls. Lifeblood, another new talent that adds a healing over time effect every time you Death Strike, giving your sustain a steady reliable boost. Blood Mists, now redesigned and tied directly into Dancing Rune Web, making the talent feel more thematic and giving Dancing Rune Weapon even more weight in your defensive and offensive window. Overall, these changes make the tree feel more modern, more flexible, and honestly a lot more fun to build around. Last but not least, let's talk about the new Midnight editions. We'll start with the Sand Lane side, but before we dive into the new stuff, let's do a quick recap on the first hero talent tree, because it ties directly into these updates. Vampiric Strike works like this. The Death Coil part isn't that super important. What matters is that it changes your Heart Strike into a version that has a 35% chance to turn into Vampiric Strike. When it procs and you land the hit, it heals you for 1% of your maximum health and gives you a haste buff up to 7% for 25 seconds. And trust me, that's nothing to ignore. So what new additions has Blizzard added to make this hero talent tree even cooler? This adds a small mastery increase whenever you have Essence of the Blood Queen. It's a simple effect, but it stacks nicely with everything else you're doing. Visceral strength. Whenever you consume Crimson Scourge, you gain 12% strength. So what does that mean? Crimson Scourge is this passive here, and the cool part is how easily it procs. You run into a pack, hit Blood Boil, spread your blood plagues, and instantly the proc chances start rolling. As you'll see, it procs very consistently, giving you a surprise amount of uptime on the 12% strength buff, all from simply activating Death and Decay. A small side note here, if you want a macro that drops Death and Decay at your feet automatically, I'll have that linked below the video. Transfusion. This ties into Vampiric Strength. With Transfusion, Vampiric Strength now increases the damage of your dancing rune weapons by 20%, a great damage increase to have. Gift of Senlane, the core of the hero talent tree. Remember the 35% chance ability Vampiric Strike? You'll gain a lot of procs on that ability thanks to this final hero talent. When this buff activates, two major things happen. Essence of the Blood Queen becomes 200% stronger. Your healing benefits from it become massively amplified. Basically triple the normal value. The second thing, Heart Strike transforms into Vampiric Strike. You stop using Heart Strike and instead get the stronger, more vampiric version that hits harder and heals more. This is the heart of Senlane kit, and when it all comes together, it really delivers that Vampire Knight fantasy that I must admit, I do like. I mean, who doesn't like this? Just look at this new animation when I pop Dancing Rune Weapon. And this feeds into the latest addition, the Apex talents. They are called the Dance of Midnight. The first one, while Dancing Rune Weapon is active, when parrying an attack, you have a chance to make your next hard strike free and do 150% increased damage. Pretty dope, if you ask me. It gets even better. Your Dancing Rune Weapon stays alive longer thanks to procs. It can last so long that you can get another one before the first one disappears. When it does happen, the next Apex reads as followed. For each Dancing Rune Weapon active, you get a 6% damage increase, and your damage intake is lowered by 4% per rune weapon. So you can basically double the amount, and maybe even higher when you read the last one. When consuming a rune, you have a chance to call another Dancing Rune Weapon that lasts for 6 seconds. When playing this build, you really do feel the abilities you're using, and they really feel meaningful when you're pressing them. I like the fact that your Heart Strike changes into a Vampiric Strike. I love the fact that Dancing Rune Weapon makes you explode in red blood essence. And I can say with confidence, this is by far my favorite build for the Death Knight. Nevertheless, let's check out the other hero talent tree, Deathbringer. The first hero talent tree is Reaper's Mark. So simply put, what it does is, it does damage and it applies a debuff, called Reaper's Mark. Each time you do shadow or frost damage, it adds a stack to a maximum of 40. Then you have Frigid Resolve. Becomes more effective. This bit is a bit boring, but the next bit is your auto attack damage provides you with a shield at 80% of the damage you dealt. Next one is Death Blows. Death Strike damage is increased by 5%. And then the last addition is Echoing Fury. Reaper's Mark in general does 5% more damage. I mean, it's just a damage modifier. Kinda boring, but the next bit is Casting Dancing Rune Weapon provides 1 stack of Exterminate with 100% effectiveness on your first and second scythe. The last hero talent is Exterminate, that after Reaper's Mark explodes your next 2 Marrow Rends, cost 1 rune and summons 2 scythes. And also the first does an X amount of damage and the second does damage and applies Blood Plague. Now for the Apex talents. These are the same as I mentioned before, Dance of Midnight, all revolving around Dancing Rune Weapon. So yeah, these are the more impactful changes to Death Knight. If you ask me, it still walks, talks and plays like a Death Knight. Would I like it to be a bit faster? Yes. But as usual, it's the beginning of the expansion. We will have a low amount of haste and it will only go up from here. Does it feel strong? And is the kit solid enough? Yes, it is. It feels like a good foundation that everyone can understand and that Blizzard can build upon further. The gameplay is fun, satisfying, and with the Death Strikes keeping you alive, it really does feel like the Death Knight. And there you have it. That wraps up my first impression of the Blood Death Knight. Midnight is still a few months away, so there's always a chance Blizzard tweaks a few things before launch. I'm not expecting massive changes, but it's worth keeping the door open, just in case. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel to grow, and I've got more first impressions and future tank guides coming your way as we get closer to the new expansion. And with that, I'm off. I really have to go now, because even in real life, I somehow end up tanking things I don't mean to pull. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Brings out.